Hey y'all, welcome back. So I wanted to do a little update on our worm farm, the vermicomposting. We've had these for a couple weeks now and I have already learned a lot of stuff. First thing I've learned is our bin is too small and we do not have enough worms to compost the amount of stuff that we're giving them. So a family of 6, we go through a lot of house waste, old vegetables, stuff like that. And our worms aren't keeping up. So in return, if our worms aren't keeping up, that means there's a lot of gnats around, flies around, and even though I am burying the stuff that we're adding to the worms, it's being found by the flying insects. So what I've done, I went to Tractor Supply and I purchased a 100-gallon Rubbermaid watering trough. What we're using now is a 35-gallon tote. So obviously that 100 gallons is going to be much bigger, and hopefully we'll be able to accommodate the food that we're giving the worms. However, the amount of worms is still a problem. So I'm going to have to order more worms in order to keep up with the compost that we're adding to the worm bin. So I haven't ordered the worms yet, but I think I'm going to order another 500 this week. But I'm going to show you the Rubbermaid watering trough that we ordered. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build a smaller bench or table-like things to set the Rubbermaid trough on top of, because this behind me where it's sitting on the sawhorses, if I set this big trough on top of that, it'll be too tall for me to work on or inside of it. And I just wanted to be a little bit more comfortable so I can get in there and look around and add compost to the worms. But before I do that, there's a bunch of stuff that I have to clean up back there and move around. If you're rednecking right, you'll have a lot of stuff to clean up because rednecks have a lot of stuff, a lot of piles of stuff. So that's what I have to do before I tackle this little project, but we'll bring you along. So this is the trough that I ordered from, or not ordered, that I actually picked up from our local Tractor Supply. It's a 100-gallon Rubbermaid trough, and I like it because it does have that little drain bung on the bottom of it. So if it does get too wet down there, I'm going to tilt it forward when I put it on the bench, and hopefully that'll be able to drain some of the wet stuff off after it accumulates on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up all this mess, and yes, that is Home Depot racking. I did not steal that from Home Depot. I purchased that from an auction. Just I want to put that out there. I have the bin set up on some old sawhorses now, but with the height of this bin and the height of the sawhorses, I think it's gonna be a little bit too tall for me to reach in there and maintenance it and work around in there. So I'm going to build a smaller table, maybe 18-20 inches off the ground. I'm going to set this Rubbermaid thing on top of that. It's going to go right here along the side of the barn. So that's the project for this weekend, and I'll take you guys along. All right, this is what we have so far for the little table. So the worm compost bin can sit on top of. All scrap wood. This is probably repurposed at least 2 different times. It's not the best of wood, but it will definitely get the job done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go try to find some more and put some slats in here for some center supports and call it good. All right, guys, finished the little tabletop for the new worm bin. Got it all set up on top. We took down the old one off the sawhorse and I started digging around in there, and I'm not finding a whole lot of worms in there, which concerns me a little bit. So I'm going to do a deep dive when I dump them in here and kind of take an observation and see how many we actually have. Yeah, I don't see a whole lot in there. I'm not sure what happened to them, or maybe they're just deep and I don't see them. But when we dump it in the bin, I'll take a look and see what we have. Make sure we didn't have a major die-off for some reason. But let me get the worms in here and I'll show you what we have when I'm done. Try to turn it around so you guys can see a little better. I definitely see worms. I just don't see many. Definitely not, there's not many left in here, and I'm not sure why. This is something we're gonna have to figure out the do's and don'ts on a little bit better, I guess. But I'm gonna try to buy 1,000 more worms this week and see if we can do better with those. But from what I'm seeing in here, it is not promising. Aha! I found a big group of them. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Well, there was a good handful. Still not exactly what I wanted to see, but that makes me feel a little better. Okay, so that was definitely not what I expected. I didn't expect anything great, but it was worse than I expected for sure. We for sure have less than half of the worms that we originally started out with, which I believe was a count of, I believe it was 750, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and look, but I think we started out with a count of 750 worms, and there's most definitely half or less than half of that left. So back to the drawing board to figure out what the heck we did wrong. We have tried this vermicomposting before in the past, several years ago, and we failed miserably there as well. So we have to figure out what we're doing wrong here. We watched a bunch of YouTube videos, read a bunch, and we still haven't fine-tuned it enough, obviously, to keep them alive long enough to produce the black gold that we all want in our gardens. So yeah, so I'm gonna order probably another 1,000 worms this week, and we'll go from there and see if we can keep these little boogers alive. I'm gonna cover it with burlap over the top of it, hopefully keep some flies and stuff out of it. Okay guys, we just received our new order of earthworms. The last time we got an order from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm, and I thought they were kind of small, so we decided to try a different place to get our worms from this time. We ordered them from Brothers Worm Farm in Kyle, Texas. So we're gonna go ahead and open these up and see what they look like. All right, they come in a nice little bag with some, looks like some shavings that you can actually use for worm food, which is kind of cool. All right. Actually look a little bit bigger than the order from Jim's. Now we ordered a pound. This is a full pound. Oh yeah, they're definitely quite a bit bigger than the first order we got from Jim's Worm Farm. Trying to pull them out here without hurting the little guys. Yeah, you guys see that? They are much bigger than Jim's Worm Farm. So far, I like what I see. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get them in their new home and see how they go. Again, this is these are the guys that I ordered them from. So let's get them in their new home and see if they acclimate good. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get them in here. Yeah, they look quite a bit bigger and better than the other place we got. Really cool. Hopefully these will do well. All right, so that's it for this video, guys. We're gonna keep you updated as the worm farm hopefully gets bigger and better as we move on, and fingers crossed that we don't kill them and they do a little bit better this time than the first round. So we'll catch you guys later on Kyle Family Homestead. Have a good one.